This is the Infinix GT Pro, and as you can probably tell from its design, it's a gaming phone. So let's put it through its paces. Fun fact about this device, I was actually supposed to get it back in May, but it ended up getting stuck in customs for some weird reason, and I only got it a few weeks ago. And in the time since I got it, I've been testing it out in different capacities to see how it holds up, not just as a gaming phone, but as a regular daily driver. And one thing a lot of people may not know is when it comes to gaming phones, a lot of sacrifices typically have to be made in order to deliver the very best gaming performance possible. So let's take a look at the Infinix GT Pro and see which sacrifices, if any, were made with this device. Let's start off with a bit of gaming, as I'm sure that's what a lot of you are really eager to see. Now, kicking off with a bit of PUBG, the first thing I want to draw your attention to is just how smooth the gameplay is. The GT Pro has a couple of special features which make it possible for the gameplay to be this smooth. We'll be talking about them a little later in the video, but if you think you have any idea what they might be, then leave your guesses in the comment section below. Now, throughout the video, I'll be showing you some of my gameplay as I talk about the specs of the device, so you might want to pay close attention. Some of the gameplay footage you can expect to see include PUBG, Grid Autosport, Call of Duty Mobile, and Asphalt 9. I'll be providing a summary of how the device performs with each game later on in the video and how hot the device is to the touch. Unfortunately, I don't have a thermometer, so I wasn't able to get the accurate temperature readings, but perhaps if you guys subscribe, then I'll be able to afford a thermometer and I can do that for the next smartphone that I test. The Infinix GT Pro is the official gaming phone of the PUBG Mobile Super League, as you can probably tell from the packaging. This means the Infinix is quite confident in the gaming capabilities of this device, and of course, this also means that prospective buyers are going to have a lot of questions and expectations regarding this device. Let's talk about the design a little. The GT Pro rocks a very techy and futuristic design language with the flat sides, tiny bezels on the front, and the geometric lines and shapes on the back. It also features this C-shaped segment on the back which lights up. Infinix calls it the Mecha Loop LED, and it mostly lights up while charging, listening to music, gaming, and when some notifications come in. You also have the ability to customize the lighting effects however you like through the settings menu. Anyway, before we get too far in the video, let's talk about the unboxing experience you can expect with the Infinix GT 20 The folks at Infinix were kind enough to send me the GT 20 gift box, and as you can see, it looks pretty cool. Inside the box, you get the GT 20 in its retail box. You also get some gaming shoulder triggers, a magnetic cooling fan, some gaming finger sleeves, and a magnetic PCM case for the device. Now, when it comes to unboxing the device itself, you can tell Infinix held nothing back. After taking up the transparent plastic wrapping, you unfurl the external package to reveal another box inside. One cool thing I noticed about this is there is actually a PUBG map printed on the inside of this external package. The second box opens up in 3 sections which are held together by magnets. And if I'm being completely honest, this has got to be one of the coolest unboxing experiences I've had with a smartphone in recent times. Included in the box, you get a free tempered glass screen protector and a protective case, which follows the overall design language of the GT 20 Pro. You also get the SIM card removal tool, which is shaped like the legendary PUBG frying pan, a uniquely shaped USB-C to USB-A cable, which we will talk about later, a 45-watt fast charger, and a pair of wired USB-C earphones. And when it comes to pricing, the Infinix GT 20 Pro comes in at $350 or around 550,000 Naira, depending on the exchange rate, of course. Because at this point, I don't even know what's happening to the economy again.
God have mercy upon us.
Anyway, that's the pricing for the version with 12GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. There's also a version with 8GB of RAM, but I'm not sure it's available in Nigeria just yet. Both versions of this device have a maximum storage capacity of 256GB, which on a normal day is pretty good, but considering just how large mobile games are getting, and considering the fact that this device does not have a micro SD card slot, it might be a cause for concern later on, so you might want to keep an eye on just how many large games you're downloading so you don't run out of storage fairly quickly. It's not all bad news though, as the GT 20 Pro uses fast UFS 3.1 storage, which basically means general performance is quite snappy, multitasking is also fast and responsive, processing times are much faster, along with read and write speeds. The GT20 Pro comes rocking a 6.78-inch AMOLED display with a resolution of 1080p, a peak brightness of 1300 nits, and a maximum refresh rate of 144 Hz. Yes, you heard that right, 144 Hz, which is pretty much the absolute best you can get on the market right now on any smartphone. The animations within the UI are super smooth and everything feels very responsive. When it comes to consuming media, aside from the light show you get from the Mecha Loop LED, you can also expect impressive sound quality from the stereo speakers when playing games or watching videos. Also baked into the display is the fingerprint scanner. It's situated towards the bottom of the screen, so it isn't in the most comfortable position to reach. However, it is responsive and accurate, so there isn't really anything to complain about here. Now, onto the most important spec when it comes to gaming on the Infinix GT20 Pro, and that is the processor. Or rather, should I say processors. We get the Dimensity 8200 Ultimate, which is a 4nm processor, and it is arguably the most powerful chipset on any mid-range phone within this price range at the moment. It offers near flagship level performance, so it's no surprise why Infinix chose it for the GT20 Pro. It also features a dedicated gaming display chip, which allows it to achieve frame rates of up to 120 FPS for games that are optimized to take advantage of it. One example is PUBG Mobile. Now, moving on to the gaming section. But before we do, if you're still watching the video at this point, then you are awesome. Leave a gaming controller emoji in the comment section below to let me know you made it this far in the video. Starting off with PUBG, the performance is pretty much flawless as you can see here. The graphic settings can be cranked all the way up to Ultra HDR, but you'll be capped at a frame rate of 90 frames per second if you do that. To enjoy the full 120 FPS the GT Pro is capable of handling, you're going to need to set the graphics to smooth. But of course, you can play around with the settings to figure out what works best for you. And bear in mind, I am a casual gamer, so please have mercy while criticizing my gameplay in this section. Using the X Arena app, you're able to prioritize performance for gaming. There are some pretty cool features in this space, and by default, it's set to equilibrium mode, which tries to maintain a balance between performance and power consumption. You can also carry out other functions from here, such as screen recording and enabling bypass charging. Remember the USB-C cable from the unboxing with its unique shape? Well, that comes in handy when you enable bypass charging, as the power is able to go directly to the processor rather than the battery, and the unique shape of the cable makes it easy for you to carry on playing your games without the cable sticking out in an annoying and uncomfortable manner. If you want the GT20 Pro to focus all its resources on gaming, then you can enable esports mode. But of course, with great power comes great responsibility. And in this case, with more power comes the higher chance that the phone is actually going to heat up. Moving on to Grid Auto Sport, the performance was consistent once again. While you aren't able to get up to 120 FPS, as this game isn't optimized for it, I was still able to get sustained smooth performance, despite the fact that this game was specifically designed for flagship devices and is very graphically intensive. When it comes to Call of Duty Mobile, the GT20 Pro lets you play at up to ultra frame rates or 90 frames per second. However, you'll have to set the graphics to low in order to achieve this. If you want very high graphic settings, then you're going to have to settle for max frame rates. The last game on the list is Asphalt 9. And while this isn't the newest or most demanding game, it's still one of the benchmarks for testing a smartphone's gaming prowess. And as I'm sure you can see here, the GT20 Pro is handling it with practically no issues. I played all 4 games back to back for a significant amount of time, and the Infinix GT20 Pro never really heated up to the point where it was too hot for me to touch. In reality, it barely even heated up at all. But I guess that can be attributed to the fact that I didn't really conduct a marathon gaming session as some people like to do, or perhaps a longer session with more intensive games would lead to the device heating up even more. Nevertheless, should the temperature become an issue, I can just slap on the magnetic cooling pad and carry on my gaming session. Unfortunately, the cooling pad doesn't come included with the GT20 Pro, but perhaps for future iterations of the GT series, it could be added as a pre-order bonus or something. Now, it's no secret that all this gaming requires battery, and fortunately, the GT20 Pro is very well equipped for that. It comes rocking a 5000 mAh battery, and it supports up to 45 watts of fast charging. You can also choose between 3 different charging modes, or you can leave it on smart charging so the device can determine which charging mode is best. When it comes to software support, Infinix has promised up to 3 years of software updates, so 2 years of major operating system updates and 1 year of security updates, which is pretty good for a mid-range phone, to be honest. Seeing as the device comes with Android 14 out of the box, we can be hopeful to get up to Android 16 and an extra year of security updates after that. Another thing I really like about the software experience on the GT20 Pro is the fact that there is minimal bloatware on this device. Personally, I can say to an extent it is definitely better than the XOS we are used to, as most of the pre-installed apps are Google apps or the default Infinix apps. There are also no ads baked into the UI of the GT20 Pro. The GT20 Pro also comes with Wi-Fi 6 and 5G capabilities, which means, well, if you know, you know, and if you don't get it, forget about it.
You get it? If you don't get it, forget about it.
And now let's talk about the cameras. The GT20 Pro comes with a 108 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization, and it can shoot videos at up to 4K 60 frames per second. It also has a pretty good shallow depth of field, handles colors well, and doesn't struggle with dynamic range. The selfie camera has a resolution of 32 megapixels, and it is capable of capturing sharp, crisp, and detailed shots in good lighting. However, you might have to disable the default beauty filters that cause your skin to be smoothened, as it might prevent you from getting the sharpest images.
So this is the video quality you can expect to get from the front-facing camera of the Infinix GT20 Pro. I'm recording in 1080p at 60 frames per second, and the audio is also coming from the GT20 Pro. So let me know what you think about it in the comment section below.
It's also able to record videos at up to 2K 30 frames per second, and overall, I'm pretty impressed with the camera system on the GT20 Pro, especially considering the fact that cameras are not one of the strong suits of gaming devices. But this definitely isn't a weakness, as it's able to go up against other devices within this price range and deliver similar, if not better, results. Let me know what you think about the camera performance in the comment section below. We all know that dedicated gaming phones don't really come to Nigeria very frequently, and the few ones that do usually have their prices inflated by third-party sellers. So it's nice to see that Infinix is taking advantage of the gigantic gaming community within Nigeria and making this device available. The GT20 Pro definitely ticks most boxes that you would require from a dedicated gaming phone. However, there are still a few things that would have been nice to have or that would make this device even better, such as expandable storage or a 512GB option, and perhaps even eSIM support. But with that being said, let me know what your thoughts are on the Infinix GT20 Pro. Would you be interested in getting this device? Does it tick all of your boxes? And if you're curious about other Infinix devices, then you can check out any of my videos in this playlist. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.